What is up, everybody? It's a full plate today, like it is every day when you're trying to help the world and it seems like the people in charge are attempting to try to shoot it in the foot. So we've got plenty of stuff to talk about. Formula shortage, gas shortage, Biden continuing to hunker down on how good of an idea everything that he's done so far is. And we've got the World Health Organization attempting to create a plan and succeeding that they can get control of countries during health crises. Well, we know how easy it is to spark one of those, so stick around and let's swan dive right in. What's up, everybody? So before we get started, I want to introduce you guys to my friend Tina the Cuban.
Hello.
Tina is a friend of mine that lives out here locally. We got to know each other because of working in local politics, basically trying to help out some of the school board situation where parents were asking for kids to be unmasked and their schools weren't allowing it, but couldn't explain why. And we had like a really grassroots, I don't know, I guess you could say, come together of all the people in this area that were just pissed about this. And they basically, that's how we got together. We started working on something that we were doing together. And so anyway, I love Tina. She's awesome. You guys are going to love her. Welcome her, follow her if you're not following her already, but we're going to jump into all the different stuff that's going on. But Tina, how you doing?
Pretty good. Thanks for that introduction. My Instagram is @TinaTheCuban, and I started the page Unmask Our Kids VB. It's unmask_our_kids VB, and that's exactly what you said. I just started it as a way to just get information out to people, and now here we are. This is what we're doing now on a video format. Same thing, inform people, because people aren't aware of what's happening in our deep politics, like the real nitty-gritty and stuff that affects you, because they make it so difficult, and for us to communicate it to the people is exactly what I'm here for.
Sure. Yeah. And really it's just way more fun when I talk to somebody than just talk to you guys by myself. So I was like, let's bring Tina on because Tina's great. But so one of the, this week there's been so much, it's almost hard to keep up with all of it, because when you're trying to pay attention to one thing, let's say somebody comes out with like, there's a formula shortage. And then you're like, well, let me look up why. And then you look up what the Democrats and them are saying. And like, there is no formula shortage, or there's always formula shortages or something. And so you have to go figure out what's true and what's not. But I know one thing's true. Whenever you have something that's as important as formula that's not available anymore, you don't also, it's almost like your left hand is literally cut off and bleeding. When that happens, you don't also disadvantage your right hand. So why is Biden cutting off the drilling sale leases in the Gulf and in Alaska this week?
Is that like gas, oil?
Yeah.
More?
Yeah. He cut it off like this week.
Isn't it? Do you remember when he said during his campaign, I will not ban fracking? That's a lie. And then he went to California and said, I will ban fracking.
Yes,
and
I remember.
And so he kept saying, everyone who keeps dogging me on the fracking, they're lying. And what did he do? And what is he continuing to do?
Right. Well, what it is it's an intentional transition from oil into the new Green Deal, basically, is what they're attempting to do. This is the Green New Deal. They're attempting to bring in that component, but they didn't want to do it in a way that's actually sustainable. In fact, the goal of a lot of this from the World Economic Forum, even though they won't tell you this directly, if you read about it, you can realize basically it's going to be a breakneck speed. And what do you think is going to happen with that? What do you think is going to happen if you go 100 miles an hour in the other direction? Have you ever tried to go in your car and put your car in reverse when you're going 75 miles an hour in one direction? It breaks everything. Everything's going to be broken, which is what's happening right now all across the world. They're basically demonizing oil, demonizing that way of doing things, because if you can drill oil, you have independent power. If you can't drill oil, you don't have independent power. If you can't build solar panels, you don't have independent power. Not a lot of people can build solar panels. So what's going to happen? The switch to electricity. What's going to still probably be the thing that fuels electricity? Probably nuclear power. Once they get control of everything, they'll probably restart up the nuclear plants and probably even some coal plants. But first, they need to make sure that you don't have power until they want you to have power. And that's, look, remember what they did in California, Tina, when they had the parties that were going on?
Oh,
right?
Yeah, the YouTubers and stuff.
Yeah, the YouTubers had the big party going on, and they shut power down to their house.
because they
wouldn't comply, right, on what we say is safe, right? It's one step away. Like, these people are just trying to get, if you have control, you win. They're not stupid. They know what they're doing. You know what I mean? And so, anyway, there's so much to talk about.
I know. So we're already going off on our tangents.
Yeah, I know.
Guys, it's so much. I literally said to Ross the other day, I was like, there's so much going on just for the news from me reading it. I feel overwhelmed. I do, like, just like, oh my gosh, like, and not overwhelmed for like the sake of just reading it, but what to release to everyone else. You know what I mean? There's just so much that is important.
Yeah. How do you tell? I don't know. I bet you everybody who's on the left, though, now thoroughly understands the difference between chest feeding and breastfeeding. You know, now that there's a formula shortage, they're not like, I wonder if this will work. It's like every guy's like, it's not going to work. You know what I'm saying? Like, every girl who's ever breastfed is like, it's not going to work.
There's an NBC where they talk about the shortages, or CNN. And there was a gay couple with a baby in California talking about the shortage, and they couldn't find any formula for their kid. I mean, kids are
you would think that would make you go, all right, I don't know anything about anything as far as like left or right and all that. All I know is I just want to, if you're on the left, all you're thinking is I just want justice. That's all I really want. But at the same time, if I can't have formula, what's happening in the administration that's making that? Like, they have to be putting something together. Why is my gas so expensive? Why is, you know what I'm saying? Which things are going to take? They're going to be like, literally the government shot you in the face and like, they're doing it for our good. They're doing it for our good.
For your safety.
Yeah, for our safety. That's why they're doing it. But anyway.
You were asking, why is there a shortage? Ross is like, why is there a shortage? Like, we have some answers. So I am going to screen share this.
Okay.
Right here. And this is basically the FDA had recalled a bunch of the formulas from this specific plant, Abbott plant. And they thought there was some sort of bacteria in it. It was contaminated. 4 babies have gotten sick, and I think 2 have already passed.
From something inside of it?
That they suspect. But it gets, the story gets better. Because right here, the very day that the FDA was told that a baby had been hospitalized with a potentially deadly bacterial infection after consuming infant formula, the agency's own inspectors were in the plant that made the formula and found nothing serious enough to warrant regulatory action. So what they're saying is that they didn't really find any swabs of the bacteria that they suspected, but still they recalled everything. And then the rabbit hole goes a little bit deeper. I have another that says the FDA hasn't been there since 2 years because of COVID. They should have been inspecting them more often, but because, oh no, we can't, COVID. Right. So they wrote it off.
Man, COVID, like, if you're the world elite right now, COVID is the blank check you can write to get control of things that you need.
Or neglect things.
Right. You don't which is what that's what I'm saying. Like, they get control of whatever they want by means of telling something, to acting like it's an emergency of some sort. And then we just end up in these precarious scenarios where, we're out of food all of a sudden. And the only solution is to ask Bill Gates to please provide us with some of his bioengineered food that has spike proteins in it probably already, you know, like, what are we doing?
Yeah, but yeah, basically they haven't been there for 2 years, and they were supposed to do inspections. And there, it says right here, FDA maintains its inspections are rigorous and are only one piece of the food safety oversight system. So they're rigorous rules to do their inspections, but you neglected them for 2 years.
Right.
But again, they said they didn't find anything serious so far. So.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Interesting.
That's what I wanted to
bring up that you. Marjorie Taylor Greene video, because she really knocks it out of the park when she says this, when she talks about this. Like, look, if your country doesn't have formula, you don't, like, it doesn't matter what it's from. You don't want to cause more problems. You know, I don't know, man. I don't know what they're like. In Canada, they were talking about euthanasia recently. You know, about older people who can't.
Human
euthanasia. They're talking about people who can't live a healthy life in the end, or basically are just so or
like
whatever.
Hospice?
And they're kind of, but like it's not really. But they're the individuals aren't the one that are deciding what the level of suffering is. It's the government, basically, which is just outlandish. Yeah, it looks like you squinted twice yesterday, so I think it's time to pull the plug. You know, and it's just like, what is this? You know.
All right, so we got this great clip from is this the House floor, with Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yeah, Chrome tab.
Yeah, I got it. With Miss Marjorie Taylor Greene.
And supplemental bill, $40 billion. But there's no baby formula for American mothers and babies. An unknown amount of money to the CIA in the Ukraine supplemental bill, but there's no formula for American babies and mothers. Stop funding regime change and money laundering scams and U.S. politician cover-ups of their crimes in countries like Ukraine.
Madam Speaker.
Okay.
Yeah, all of that, 100%. Even if, like, everybody, just so you know, Ukraine is one of the most corrupt countries in the world. It's been referred to as, from Democrats and Republicans, as a place where your money goes to disappear, right? So that means...
I haven't heard that.
Yeah, everybody has said that because it's so corrupt and there's no checks on it, right? So basically they have the ability... That's what a lot of foreign aid is a lot of foreign aid is it goes to people in those other countries, and then it goes into whatever they want, right? Well, if you, as the vice president and his son, have a conversation with Ukraine before you get them to get $1 billion, right, and you get a little cut of that, if it goes to them, all the U.S. knows is it went to the country. They don't know where it went in the country. It's money laundering, right? Laundering. But then everybody agrees with what MTG just said, which is Marjorie Taylor Greene,
yes,
which is stop sending money to overseas places. Like, now, if you're on the left, you're not supposed to like war anyway. Remember, you were thrilled that we got out of Afghanistan the most terrible way possible. And the only thing that the left said to justify the fact that we left Afghanistan was, we didn't want a war anymore anyway. Aren't you glad Biden finally did it? And now we're at war again, and you guys are somehow in favor of it. So I don't understand it. But why don't you roll the rest of that and let us see what the brilliant Democrats have to say.
See what they...
You can maximize that one if you want.
Okay. Here we go.
Here's a formula for the destruction of democracy: repeating Putin's propaganda and disinformation and appeasing imperialist assaults on sovereign nations. Madam Speaker, I yield 1 minute to the gentlewoman from Washington, Ms. Giles.
Wow, that was their response?
Hang on. Yep. Hang on.
That was the response.
Why can't I do this?
Oh, it's all, you have to come over here to do it.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. This all
this will edit out, yeah. Okay, can I come? Okay. All right. Democrat response.
Yeah, so that's the response, is when somebody is saying, stop sending money to regimes where they wash money and they can basically send it wherever. Like, you guys know that Hunter Biden is getting $86,000 a month for never showing up to a job at a Burisma oil company that was in the Ukraine, right? He never even showed up to the job, got 86 grand.
Yep.
Right. And so, and we
rode
also
on Air Force Two a couple times. He hitched a ride with Air Force Two, I believe. Yeah.
I believe it. I believe it. I mean, it's just bonkers, man, that people aren't going, the place that right before the election happened, there seemed to be, massive business deals going on, and the laptop was Russian disinformation. That whole thing that we were finding out then was about the corruption inside of the Biden family with other countries, and now we're going to war in that country, and we're sending billions and billions.
Yeah.
What are the chances of this? You know what I mean?
So coincidental.
Yeah, and it's just like, at which point do you start to say, oh, they're putting everything in that car. They must be the getaway car. You know what I mean? Oh, it's just, anyway.
But when? Because how much more do you need?
Well, how much of this do you think they're even hearing?
How about the way he said it, too? Did you hear that? I'll show you a formula. Did you catch that? He said, the formula to stop all this is to stop Russian disinformation. He was mocking. That's what he did. Yeah, I'll bring it up.
Click play on that.
Yeah.
Supplemental bill, $40 billion.
Just fast forward it. I want to see.
Okay.
There's no baby change. Politician countries like Ukraine.
Here's a
Oh my gosh.
Here's a formula for the destruction of democracy.
Hold on, I got it.
Propaganda and disinformation and appeasing imperialist assaults on sovereign nations.
Dude,
Madam Speaker, I yield formula.
Ukraine. Freeze like Ukraine.
Madam Speaker.
Yeah, listen to the mockery. Listen to the mockery in this guy's voice when we're talking about a formula shortage.
Here's a formula for the destruction of democracy, repeating Putin's propaganda and disinformation and appeasing imperialist assaults on sovereign nations.
What a bitch.
Wasn't that awful?
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
people are actually, like, this little privileged punk has never actually had a shortage of anything, most likely.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then here we are, trying to actually solve problems, and this dude's mocking it, talking about don't be a disinformation junkie.
Mm-hmm. No, I think that was really, really sad the way he's mocking. People are desperate. I mean, a lot of times we probably run into desperation at some point in our lives. Like, you're desperate, you ran out of gas, so now you're on the side of the road or whatever. But the desperation for a parent to feed their child is something that not only parents will understand.
Right.
And that is a desperation, like when your child is sick or hungry, you can't get them to eat, or like, any problems that you might have with your child. That desperation, that level of desperation, you think you've experienced it. No, you haven't until you've had a kid, and that's that desperation. And that's what he did. That's what he said. The formula.
What a punk, dude.
It wasn't that off. Just that. Like,
that alone to make light of it. Just that alone to make light of it. Why would you make light of it? Like, that's not even cool on your side, dog. Like, that's like, even your people are going to get mad at you. What was the thing that they did before the election where they were, the vaccines, where they basically were demanding people get vaccinated, and then all the young black men are like, no. Mm-hmm. They're the least vaccinated group in the entire United States, and it's like, dog, this is a losing thing, and you guys just keep hammering it home. No formula is another losing thing. Get ready.
Want to know what they tried to do, and they're just going to continue to tear it down, because when that whole thing, when the young black men wouldn't get vaccinated, they had one of their liberal newspapers print out heterosexual black males are the white people of the black community. I am not lying.
Right. Since you're allowed to be racist against white people, that was an insult, guys, just in case you were wondering, because you're allowed to hate white people. That's where we are in the world today. You're allowed to hate white people to the point where they use you as the thing that they compare other things you should hate to. Mm-hmm. And just oh my God, this is so much brainwashing. It's literally a cult.
Yeah. I thought that was awful, and it was to push back and shame, because that's what they found, that the young black men did not want to get vaccinated because they didn't go with the narrative. They didn't follow the plan.
Right.
So, yes.
Surprised that we find ways to weave into every facet of our lives such an important and painful reality for so many people, to make it sound like it's just another 0.4% added to our labor force participation as a result of the issue of abortion. Just, to me, seems harsh.
Well, I certainly don't mean to say what I think the effects are in a manner that's harsh. What we're talking about is whether or not women will have the ability to regulate their reproductive situation in ways that will enable them to plan lives that are fulfilling and satisfying for them. And one aspect of a satisfying life is being able to feel that you have the financial resources to raise a child, that the children you bring into the world.
Now, I want to get your thoughts on the way she said that this abortion issue, specifically abortion, not birth control pills, not the Depo shot, specifically an abortion, she's talking about, well, they're not ready and they need to plan. Aren't there other ways?
Yeah, isn't there 99% effective other ways that don't involve abortions?
This is like you're absolving young ladies from having accountability over their bodies. You have to, like, have accountability. Like, okay, if you're going to be promiscuous or do that, okay, you need to make sure you're on the pill, things like that, which you can go get for free at Planned Parenthood. So it's fine.
Are wanted and that you have the ability to take care of them. In many cases, abortions are of teenage women, particularly low income and often black, who aren't in a position to be able to care for children, have unexpected pregnancies, and it deprives them of the ability often to continue their education, to later participate in the workforce. So there is a spillover into labor force participation, and it means that children will grow up in poverty and do worse themselves.
Thank you.
So I love that she's faking concern. Like you can call it real concern, you can call it fake concern, whatever. The point is that she's saying we don't want the kids to suffer. We don't want them to grow up in poverty because that would be bad for the kid. However, killing them is somehow not bad for the kid.
Exactly, because Tim Scott, this is what he says.
This is the truth.
I'll just simply say that as a guy raised by a black woman in abject poverty, I'm thankful to be here as a United States Senator.
Yeah, classy response from a dude who grew up in it. I mean, look at Kathy Barnett. Have you heard of her? Kathy Barnett, the girl who's she's the black woman who's running right now against Dr. Oz and all them.
Yes.
Yeah, because she was literally her mother was 12 when she had her, and guess what?
No,
she was raped. Her father raped her mother and had the baby when she was 12.
What? Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
No,
so
I
Kathy
knew she was
Barnett
a teen mom. I didn't know she was. I know her mom was a teen mom. It was like a brief excerpt that I read.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
She's 12. That's like 12. That's like I don't even know that I would be like that's safe for your body to have a kid at 12. But her mother didn't even consider it. Her mother was just like, I'm not allowed to have an abortion. I'm not going to have one. And then we have Kathy Barnett running for office, and these people have the balls, the gall, to say that it will produce more suffering and nothing good can come from kids that go to foster care, basically. Like they say that every time that they talk about abortion being the solution to lessening suffering. It's like, well, what kind of suffering were you expecting on these kids?
Well, and look, and he's saying that I grew up in abject poverty and I'm a senator. That's essentially what he said, and it's true. But my most egregious part of that, in my opinion, is where she says that they need to continue on their education and they need to be in the workforce.
Right.
So you want it to bolster your economy. You don't want it for their happiness.
Right. No wonder Amazon's paying $4,000 to help you have an abortion if you need one. They want you
profitable.
Yeah. Stay your ass on the concrete and keep walking back and forth with my boxes.
Work. That's what they want.
That's what they want. They want us in cubicles, man. They want us in cubicles like rats. You know, I was seeing something recently. They were talking about families joining 11 together to live in pods. 11 families joining a big area and they all get their own little pod. So it's like, imagine 11 families in a house, but they each have one little room in the house that their family's allowed to be in, right? Fast forward 20, 30, 40 more years when everything's so expensive that you and I can't buy it because they intentionally make it that way. And what happens? You're all in cubicles. You check in, you check out. You know, it's just they're trying to get control of everything. And it's so simple to see when you can see it from far away. You start going, oh, overarching theme of everything is you have less control of everything that you would want to have control of if you weren't dependent on the government.
And they keep you happy.
Right.
Disney and
dopamine.
And,
swipe, getting the dopamine. You're excited, right? Yeah. And then it turns out they robbed you of everything that made you able to be independently powerful on your own, and they are the only thing that can tell you whether you can or cannot travel, when you can or cannot visit family, if you can see them in the hospitals or not, what medicine you're allowed to have, when you're allowed to have it, who qualifies to be able to live in rent, who qualifies for food rationing, all this stuff. If they get control, they own everything. And you own nothing, and you'll be happy, which is literally the World Economic Forum's intentional, outspoken. That is what it says. You'll have no privacy, you'll own nothing, and you'll be happy.
Yep, that was the Marxist. That was like his MO. Like, no, if you follow these rules, which are basically communistic rules, you will live in a life of leisure and euphoria. It's really creepy.
It is.
There's like pictures and stuff of like people in nice old because it was back in the day in these old time dresses and stuff, like around a lake. It's really creepy. But yeah, no, I agree. They're just keep more control, and they just want you to work. Like, oh, come on, black women, we don't want you to have your nuclear families. We don't want you guys to have a dad and a mom and work up or be at least achieve happiness in a family. We want you to abort the baby and go to work.
Right.
Go to work. Oh,
lessen the population.
Take out that student loan. You should take out more student loans. You need to get your master's now. And then what is it? Some astronomical percentage that people with degrees aren't even working in the field that they studied in.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yeah, it's like 80-something%.
I was going to say, let me look it up.
Yeah, it's like right? all of them. Like if you go to school, expect a 4 out of 5 chance that you will not be doing something in that field when you actually graduate and all. And what's wild is these people, I don't even know what to say about it. It's so frustrating to watch this and just have to sit by and allow the government to destroy people's lives like this. And I don't care if you're on the left or the right. If you're watching what's happening right now, you can't be excited. You can't be excited about the gas prices. You can't be excited about the cost of living. You can't be excited about food prices. They're up 23%. You can't be excited at the fact that we're going to another war since you were happy that we were leaving Afghanistan. Why are you excited that we're going to another one? Go ahead. Okay.
This actually answers the opposite of it, but same thing. Well, what percent of college graduates end up working in the field of their major? Answer, 27%. So yeah, it's almost 80%. Like, practically close, sorry. Sorry.
Look at that, guys. 27%.
Oh, yeah.
What should you do?
See how it's backwards? Did I explain it right? It's backwards?
No, you got it right.
Yeah.
It's 27%.
Yeah,
which means 73%, right?
So they want you to take out astronomical student loans, and they want you to...
That you can't default from ever.
Right.
And now you're not enslaved to a corporation that can go bankrupt. You're enslaved to the government that's been around for 200 years that continues to get more and more control of the people. Mm-hmm. I mean, just think 15 years goes by, and then they're like, well, actually, for anybody that wants the student loan forgiveness, we're about to raise interest rates on it because of da-da-da-da-da. Mm-hmm. And then they just cripple further. And the more control that they get, the more control and the more leverage that they get, the less freedom that you have. And that's basically what's happening in the U.S. right now. We're watching a transition where the World Economic Forum is basically attempting to tell every country how they should do things so they can get control, which is another whole thing. I have that on my Twitter too, by the way.
Yep, I got it right here.
Yeah, okay, let's read it.
Read it out?
Yeah. Is Biden handing over sovereignty, the U.S. sovereignty, over to the World Health Organization? On May 22nd through the 28th this year, a few weeks away, ultimate control over America's healthcare system and hence its national sovereignty will be delivered for a vote to the World Health Organization's governing legislative body, the World Health Assembly. The threat is contained in new amendments to the World Health Organization's international health regulations proposed by the Biden administration that are scheduled as provincial agenda item 16.2 at the upcoming conference. These amendments will empower the World Health Organization Director General to declare health emergencies or crisis in any nation and do so unilaterally and against the opposition of the target nation. The Director General will be able to declare these health crises based merely on his personal opinion or consideration that there is a potential or possible threat to other nations. If passed, the Biden administration's proposed amendments will, by their very existence and their intention, drastically compromise the independence and the sovereignty of the United States. The same threat looms over all the UN's 193 member nations, all of whom belong to the World Health Organization and represent 99.4% of the world's population. These regulations are a binding instrument of international law entering into force on the 15th of June 2007. The 3 UN member states can be required by law to obey or acquiesce to them. We knew this was coming. We said it the whole time. It's not going to be U.S. military troops attempting to control us. It's going to be UN troops attempting to control us. And good news, everybody. If you thought the World Health Organization was just one part of the problem, you're right. But guess what? The UN joined forces with the World Health Organization and the World Economic Forum recently. That was like 3 weeks ago, where they decided to join to write that treaty out or whatever. Do you want to read more of it?
Oh, no, I didn't know if you wanted to...
How much time do we have to stop the amendments? The contents of proposed amendments were not made public until April 12th, leaving little time to protest before the scheduled vote. I mean, that's just entirely against nationalism.
Right.
Basically, it's an incomplete...
That takes our constitution and...
Yeah.
Just like that.
Oh, cool. But not in a crisis. The World Health Organization gets control in a crisis.
And did you catch that they said that it put up above on a perceived... Whatever they feel, if they feel this director, if they feel like they it's a crisis or a health crisis or emergency, whatever, they had some wording there, different, because it's all the same thing, but they have it under different words sometimes.
The existing World Health Organization regulations then provide for an 18-month grace period during which a nation may withdraw its yes votes for the amendments. But the current proposed amendments will reduce that opportunity to 6 months. Whatever happens, you can't let a different president get in. You can't let Congress change.
Oh.
Because that wouldn't go very far. But no matter what happens, Americans aren't going to be cool with this. As soon as they decide to do it, Americans aren't going to be cool with this. So, no thanks. We throw off. I mean, this is the biggest news right now. This is the biggest, most important thing that we can be talking about. Oh, they just don't stop, dude. They don't stop.
Nope. I mean, and look, of course, what we just said. What are they selling it under? The guise of health, safety. That's what they're trying to sell it as. And how sneaky is that? Like they knew that they were going to do this, but yet they only gave us a 6 months. And then nobody, you notice how the mainstream didn't cover it?
Yeah, of course.
We didn't hear anything about it. And now we're getting it from like random, I don't want to say random, but like grassroots started like YouTube channels and stuff like that and they repost their stuff to Instagram. Like just normal people who are like, guys, hey, we need to be talking about this. None of the mainstream has covered it, or they probably will now because it's like, it's starting to go viral. But we're only finding out now. How many days away is the 28th or the 22nd?
Yeah. I mean, what, a week, 2 weeks, maybe?
Unbelievable.
But you know, the thing about all this is here's the problem with nationalism versus globalism. All globalism is imagine you're in a country that gets really shitty and really tyrannical and really corrupt, like they all have done at some point in their history, most of them, right?
Right.
And then you're like, God, this is so bad, I'm going to leave. And then you leave to go to another country and it's the same damn government. Literally, it's just one country is running everything. So this is obviously stupid for anybody who's just a normal person. I don't care if you're left, right, center, whatever. It doesn't matter.
You can't have one person ruling the world.
Right. That's it's just a terrible idea.
Like, it's so strange.
Right. And that's what this is. It's not even one person, right? It's basic. It's one like group of people that is not elected. They're not elected. That's the problem with this, is they are not elected. And even if they were elected, I would want another elected group of people to be able to challenge that elected group of people, which is why nation states or nations are important.
Well, not just that. What if you make a law that only affects people in cold weather? Let's say they make some stupid environmental law, right? If this new global government, right, the group of people. So they make a law that only applies to Alaska and stuff that's cold, but the law wouldn't apply to things in Florida. You know what I mean? Like,
well,
it wouldn't translate.
I mean, there's a million problems.
That's why there's different regions. So you have laws that address your region. Like, you can't have anacondas
but we also know that the laws that they're passing are not even the type of laws that me and you would ever even consider passing. They're like some of this. There is going to be race-based laws, guys. Like
caste system.
Yeah, they're saying it's in the name of anti-racism, but you have to understand what that means. If they're allowed to categorize certain races as needing of different treatment from the government, that means that they're basically playing God. Like these people are deciding who can be born, how many can. Look at China. For so long, they decided how many kids you can have. Do you want the government to have that much control? Are you stupid enough to think that China won't get control of a lot of this after a while? Why is that? Why do you think that? Do you know about the surveillance system that China has? Do you know how good they are at that? It's incredible how they've said they want to have as many. Well, number one, China said by 2025 they're going to be able to control 75% of their entire nation's weather. So,
is that what they said?
With cloud seeding, which is chemtrails, basically, in case everybody wants to know, in case you call them fake, the stuff that flies over your head. Yeah, chemtrails. They're legitimate cloud seeding. It's what happens. You can control the weather. I don't know how detailed they can control the weather, but there is a such thing as the ability to control hurricanes, I've heard.
Really? Hurricanes?
Yeah, because Trump said something about it and everybody joked him, and then Bill Gates was basically messing with something. I don't know. They called it a hurricane gun.
Wow.
But I don't know what it is. Anyway, just nonstop.
You're right. Did you know that I found out recently? I knew about the cloud seeding, but I found out recently that it's been done since like the 1960s or 1970s. I don't know.
Right. I know that in Vietnam, I think somebody was doing some of it.
I had no idea. I thought this was recently.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's the thing, everybody. What they do is they come up with a new technology. They ban the ingredients in that technology so that private people can't do it, right? And then they say, like right now, you can get a car that goes from New York to LA on 4 gallons of water. What's his name? Stanley Meyer came up with it and put it out. What's the guy's name that was in Area 51?
Oh, I don't
Bob
remember.
Lazar. Bob Lazar talks about it. There's videos of this guy going from LA to New York in 4 gallons of water.
Oh,
but
I saw that. Was that for real?
That's for real, 100%.
I saw a meme about it, and I just kind of passed by it. That's real? Oh my gosh.
So what they do is what they do is they have a component inside of the vehicle. Basically, it's a fuel making mechanism that takes regular water and makes it into H3O or something like that. And because it's making H3O, which is one of the ingredients that's in a hydrogen bomb, and the government has the only ability to be able to do that, right? They don't let you do it, but it's free fuel, everybody. It's free fuel, but you're not allowed to have it. Why? Because you're already on the nipple of the oil and gas industry, and they needed you to stay there. And they also aren't going to let you, that's the thing about all this is, I don't know. You guys know what's happening. They're basically controlling everything.
Is this the guy?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Stanley Meyer.
Here, we'll share it real quick. Yep, it's definitely real. Yep. Stanley Meyer's water fuel cell. Water fuel cell redirects here for other purported... The water fuel cell is a technical design of a perpetual motion machine created by American Stanley Allen Meyer, August 24th, 1940 to March 20th,
I love that it says claimed. Wikipedia, it's like he claimed that it...
I didn't even
instead of gasoline.
I didn't even catch that. Meyer claimed that an automobile retrofitted with the device could use water as fuel instead of gasoline. Meyer's claims about this water fuel cell and the car, quote unquote, and the car that it powered were found to be fraudulent. By an Ohio court.
You can watch Bob Lazar use the car right now, everybody. You can watch him do it. He's got a video of him doing it.
Oh, let's do that. Hang on.
Yeah, here, I'll help you find it. I know where. I think I can remember where it's at.
Oh, okay. Here, I'll edit this out, right? Okay.
That one tipped up.
From collectiveevolution.com. Bob Lazar been used to test advanced military air.
Video of Bob actually driving the car.
When most people
at his new home in rural...
Yep, there we go.
Okay.
Many people don't know this, but if you qualify for this new offer through Pink Energy, you could get paid over
gas like a sponge. The lab repeat much safer.
They want to sell them. Dropped out of sight, but George. He's Bob Lazar, and 16 years ago, he told our George Knapp about Area 51 and said scientists there were studying UFOs. He dropped out of sight, but George caught up with him.
Okay.
As a teenager, Bob Lazar built a jet-powered bicycle, later a jet Honda, then a jet dragster. These days, he's focused on a different propulsion system.
Every vehicle we have here is powered by hydrogen.
At his new home in rural New Mexico, Lazar's been working on a conversion kit that will turn any car into a hydrogen hybrid. His 2 vehicles have already been converted and can travel up to 450 miles on hydrogen gas, then switch automatically back to gasoline.
What's that? He's already retrofitted all these, but I thought that Wikipedia said that it was proven false. How is Bob Lazar retrofitting all of his vehicles to be able to do this, guys?
Lazar wants to take it a step further.
Every major car manufacturer is working on a hydrogen system. The only difference is that they want to sell you a new hydrogen car and they want to sell you hydrogen gas at hydrogen gas stations. Basically what we're doing is making a conversion kit you can use in your own car, and instead of buying hydrogen from somebody else, you make it.
He makes hydrogen using water and a solar-powered generator, but again with a Lazar twist.
But it's the only particle accelerator on the block, I'll guarantee it.
The small lab behind his home has a 30-foot-long particle accelerator he built from scratch. He uses it to produce metal hydrides, which absorb hydrogen gas like a sponge.
Jesse, go back and
System.
record
The
that.
only difference is that they want to sell you a new hydrogen car and they want to sell you hydrogen gas at hydrogen gas stations. Basically what we're doing is making a conversion kit you can use in your own car, and instead of buying hydrogen from somebody else, you make it.
He makes hydrogen using water and a solar-powered generator, but again with a Lazar twist.
But it's the only particle accelerator on the block, I'll guarantee it.
The small lab behind his home has a 30-foot-long particle accelerator he built from scratch. He uses it to produce metal hydrides, which absorb hydrogen gas like a sponge and make it much safer to use as a fuel.
Now, you can do that with ordinary metal hydrides, but we found a way to kind of actually manipulate the atomic structure to change things, and it worked out.
Damn, news used to be good back then.
I know. Yeah, news used to be legit.
I'm like,
Don't you hate paying those prices? Oh, never mind. There are sponsors. Don't you guys love paying those prices for gasoline these days? You know?
Or not just that. It's just really cool, factual, not sensationalized and to a side. They're just bringing it.
Saying it what it is. Right.
They're just oh my gosh, that was so refreshing. Anyway, yeah.
No, you're right.
Oh, gosh.
Fantastically.
Almost sounds like you're a real scientist.
That's what they tell me.
It's an inside joke based on the ridicule Lazar has faced ever since he went public in 1989 with his claims that he worked on flying saucers in the Nevada desert. The military refused to answer any questions about Lazar or his claims, nor could we verify much of anything about his life. Lazar told us he previously worked at Los Alamos National Lab. The lab repeatedly denied it, even after we found Lazar's name in the lab's own phone book. By no means does he dwell on being proven right. He and his wife have left the UFO crowd far behind and could care less, they say. Lazar stands by his original story, but
I certainly can't say I would do it again. I would probably keep my mouth shut this time.
Right.
Earlier this year, British scientists say they demonstrated an anti-gravity system that appears to be based on the theories revealed years ago by Lazar.
For a minute. I get what they were doing too. They were trying to make him look crazy.
Right.
So there was a twist on it.
Right.
Oh, look at me. I went off. I was like, oh my gosh. No, they were trying to make him look crazy.
Right. They still didn't honor him the right way.
And now they're coming out saying, no, there really was aliens. So.
Right. Now they're really saying, oh, okay, yeah, it's all legit. And he was there.
And he was telling the truth.
And he was telling the truth.
Goodness gracious.
That's why he went on Joe Rogan and basically like answered every question that they had about whatever. Yeah, Bob Lazar went on Joe Rogan with this guy Jeremy Corbyn or something like that, and they basically
totally gonna watch it.
Oh, it's great. It's a great episode because you kind of learn all the different details of things, and plus they had that Navy pilot.
The one that said he saw the thing.
The one who did see it. He has the video recording, and his radar picked it up and everything. Yeah, he said turned on its side like a Tic Tac and then went faster than anything. Went from 40,000 feet to 20 feet in like a millisecond.
That's crazy.
And he was like, we don't have any technology that does that. But anyway.
Wow. So, yeah. So they did try to make him look crazy anyway. Look at me.
Well, but what's crazy about this is that they have... So what? They have hydrogen, and you're able to power cars from it, and it comes from water. And here we are, telling everybody that there's a gas shortage and we have no solution for it except to turn off your gas, make gas significantly more expensive, and make you anyway.
Or how did they? No, this. Remember how they presented it before? They said that it's because of Putin and the war. The U.S. only gets between I think 3 and 10% of gasoline from Russia. So why is it that you practically doubled it? Like, that doesn't make any sense if only 3 to 10%. 10% is being very generous. I think it's closer to 3. Sorry, if only 3% comes from Russia.
Here's how easily you
they can't hear it.
Oh, they can hear it. Sorry. If it comes from Russia, it's only that percentage. It's only 3 to 10%. That gas price didn't need to jump like that. But they are also very sneaky the way they tried to say that it was because of Putin and the war. The inflation and gas prices were already going up before the war kicked off. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah. But nobody knows that. All the people that watch the news don't care, don't remember, don't think. When the guy from the World Economic Forum says that the idea of free will is completely gone, he's right. He said human beings are hackable. That's what he said. And it's because it doesn't matter. You can literally lie your ass off. If you control the assets of giving people information, you can manipulate them, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Here, let's watch this real quick.
Something exploded.
So this is the same thing that was inside the lab. So this is the same thing that was inside the lab.
It's powered by either solar array, solar panels, which convert sun into electricity, or a wind turbine takes the wind, converts it to electricity, or any other way. But the idea is just to use complete green energy. Ideally, I like to run this one on solar. New Mexico gets a lot of sunlight, so that's really all there is to it. You connect it to a water line. All there is to it. Plug it into your solar panel and open the water line, and it starts producing hydrogen. And when it has a sufficient quantity in there, let the hydrogen out, and you just leave it plugged into your car overnight.
Now, this is the same as those other two tubes, right? This is hydrogen and oxygen. Those other two tubes, right? Whichever one is.
The oxygen we have no use for, so we just vent off into the air. And the hydrogen
is very nice of you. I'm sure the Earth would be proud. Well, it's very nice of you.
Could use all the oxygen it can get. So the hydrogen, using the water pressure is compressed into the hydride tanks.
The water pressure, like a syringe, it pushes it right into the tank.
Exactly.
Like a syringe, it pushes it right into the tank.
Exactly. Well, there's the standard gasoline, Phil. Also, there's a hydrogen in it. Which you click on, leave it on overnight. And as the generator makes hydrogen, it compresses it in there at a nice slow rate. And the tanks become full. For a period of about 8 hours or so.
There are little points here and there that do have to be addressed. I mean, when it comes right down to it, you don't want fuel tanks inside the vehicle. This is a prototype, so ideally, eventually, you'd want the tanks outside, just like a fuel tank is. The second thing is you're dealing with an unusual gas. Hydrogen not only is lighter than air, but also it burns with an invisible flame and is completely odorless, which is not a good thing. Now, propane is odorless too. They add that pretty strong scent to it. And you can't really do that with hydrogen, because if you add any kind of chemical to it, the hydride has a problem storing it. It can poison the hydride and lose its ability to hold hydrogen. So that's something that needs to be addressed. If you have a hydrogen leak and somehow the gas is getting in the car, you never know. And it could accumulate in the car. You go to light a cigarette, there could be an explosion in a case like that. So you need things like a hydrogen gas detector, so it'll let you know if there is a hydrogen leak. But I mean, it's still an extremely safe system.
Why can't everybody do this? I mean, gas is going at $5 a gallon. Right. It's terrible. The whole country's falling apart. We're killing people all over the world for oil. And you're driving a car on this, and you can do it. And you can convert any other car.
Yeah, unless I'm sure there are cars that have some technical problems, but yeah, essentially, any car can be converted. The whole problem to it is the material in the hydride. The hydride itself, one of the main components of it, is classified as a weapon material, and it can only be used in thermonuclear weapons. And because, even though it's not a dangerous material, explosive, or anything by itself, just because it's used within those nuclear weapons that are obviously secret, and the components thereof, but because it's used in those, it can't be used for any other civilian purposes. So, you can't even purchase the material.
No.
Which is why we had to make it.
You made it?
We made it.
But isn't that, don't you need big particle accelerators? And
so that was the one loophole. You can make the material, you can't buy it. So
where's the part of material?
I mean, that's just crazy, though. That just goes down to it's 100% because the government has it classified.
Did you know that California has hydrogen gas stations? So yeah, they've tried it. Yeah, I'll find it for you. But they want to charge for it. They want to be able to monetize it before we start getting all crazy.
Because God forbid you become independent on your fuel.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
But yes, California has hydrogen.
Freaking wild, man.
First, I'm going to play this for you. And then I'll tell you more backstories, okay? But I want to get your opinion on what Floyd Mayweather says here.
I make sure all my kids went to public schools, not private school. Because public school is more like the real world. I feel like private school is more like a boot camp. Everybody got to dress the same because they want to keep everybody on the even playing field. But public school is more like the real world. It's more diverse. Whereas when you go to private school, it's either white, Jewish, and then I had my daughter. My oldest daughter was going to private school. So one day, of course, me, she lives with me. So every day I drop her off in school. Her mother pick her up because we live by each other. Drop her off, pick her up. So, when you go to the parent-teacher conference, I went. And I come to find out my daughter is the only black kid in her class. I said, we can't do this. I make sure.
So, thoughts?
How long ago was this?
I think it was pretty recently. I can look it up, but see how he has the beard? Right. So it's sometime within the last, let's just say 5 years.
Okay, so
definitely 5 years.
I think he's right about public school being more like if you want your kids to be prepared to fight the right way, they're going to need to know what kind of stupid ideas are out there and how to fight them, and they're going to experience those in the public school. I think that's true, but they're not going to experience them in a public school because you're not sending an experienced boxer to a ring. What you're doing is you're sending a child who's impressionable to a place to be indoctrinated by public school people. So I think public school is not a better place, and then the private school thing.
Well, and if you have the means, like he did. He chose. That's the thing. He had the means to do, yet that was his reasoning. That's what makes it so kind of like, what? Because he has the means. He had the means to send them to a private school. And that's what he's saying his reasoning is. So let's put finances aside. Let's pretend that private school is accessible here and he had access to it. And he chose to pick the public school. What do you think about that?
Well, the reason he said it was because she was the only black girl in her class. Which, isn't that racist? To be like, they're all white and Jewish? It's like, well, you mean like the people that run the world? Shouldn't you want to learn to be like them? I don't care who you are. If you know how to do shit good, I want to be the guy who does shit good. And or I guess I say the word well. I didn't ever learn to speak English good, but I'm better at communicating than a lot of people who you pay to communicate. But so I'm wondering...
Well, it gets better.
Okay, go ahead. I don't understand yet.
This spiderweb gets a little complex. So, his daughter, do you know who NBA Youngboy is?
No.
NBA Youngboy is a rapper. I'm sure many people in the audience will know. He's a rapper. He's getting in a lot of trouble. He's already a felon. He got in trouble just recently with a gun, and he shouldn't have had it. He was in federal prison. It was a mess. I think his lawyers pulled some strings, but he is a mess. He also has about 202 baby mamas. Okay? Just being... sarcastic there. It's a lot of baby mamas, and he's only like 22 or 21. He's so young. Very talented though. Very,
this is
good
Floyd
rapper.
Mayweather's daughter's boyfriend?
Well, no, baby daddy. She got knocked up by him and became baby mama number 7 or something like that. So the public schooling, and now that she became, and that's who she chose to be with, because she had she has the pick of many successful higher echelon men because of her father. But that's who she chose to get impregnated by.
What's he think about that? What's Floyd say about all that?
I don't think he really talks about it. He just, he does what he does. He dances around it just like he does in the ring. So he just dances around it. I can't really say, but it gets better.
Okay, go ahead. Show it.
The daughter just pled guilty to something with a deadly weapon. She stabbed one of the other baby mamas she was beefing with, and they were beefing through the app, some app where you can...
The app she probably learned in public school.
It's a phone app that they use, and they argue on there. And she was stalking NBA Youngboy. He's already left her, like he doesn't want to be with her, and she was like stalking him on this app and everything. It's where people like talk. Think of like Twitter.
What's that?
Live. Where was it? Okay, so she was trying to. It's the app that they were on.
Baby Mama Drama.
Baby Mama Drama, and she had to plead guilty. She stabbed the girl.
16 years ago, he told our
So
George Knapp
again,
about
now
Area
let's go back to
51
Floyd
and said
Mayweather saying, "Oh no, I purposely put my daughter in public school because I think that the private school was going to be a bad influence on her, and
because they were white and Jewish,
and this is what she turned out to be.
Dragster. These days,
yeah.
he's focused on a different propulsion system.
Every vehicle we have here is
look,
powered
the
by
hip hop
hydrogen.
culture lies to everybody that doesn't have millions of dollars to start with, okay? You can't just gangbang and get away with it. You can't just kill people and get away with it. You can't. It's just, look, live by the sword, die by the sword, man. And there's so much bad advice out there about how to live your life, and almost all of it is being intentionally fed to you. And if you're one of the people that's actually listening to the hip hop industry and all these other, you know, I mean, look, it's so sad now that the public schools, the government institutions, the military, all these places are basically adopting woke ideology and saying that it's truth. You know, like it is the truth.
Yeah, they say it enough, it'll become true.
And that's so scary because it's just going to get worse and worse as time goes on.
And instead of buying hydrogen
that's what I was kind of, I think, on the same lines as that, the hip hop culture, and that's just, and you should see the comments on this. The comments are like, yes, this is he a real one, blah blah blah. Like it's like half and half. Some people are calling it out, but there are a surprising amount of people that are like 100, and you hit this on the hit the nail on the head, and thinking that this was great.
I had my kid in a private school, and then I was like, this ain't fair. I wanted to have a public school.
Right.
And everybody's like, yeah, all the poor people are like, yeah, that's what we had to do too, because we couldn't afford the private school. And so Floyd's basically just saying, like, I know my kid was ahead in this one category and had a better advantage, but I wanted her to be like normal, so I made her not have a better advantage and made her go to public school. And then she got knocked up by a rapper, and now she's stabbing folks. And it's like, well, whatever you did wasn't quite right, Doc.
Yeah.
Is she going to jail, or is she able to just
I'm not
plead
sure
out?
yet. I didn't read what her, if they did the sentencing. I just saw that she had she said they were going to plead guilty. So yeah, but that's where we are with that. And you know, we can't always control what our children do and everything like that. But I don't know. I just think you're, like you said, the influence is of that more, like, you know, culture and everything is more in high schools and public high schools and things like that, where it's cool, like where it's cool to get knocked up and go on an MTV show, the Teen Mom MTV show. You know what I mean?
It's a whole different metric system of morality, basically.
So I don't know.
When the government helps, that's excusable. You know, like, here's the thing, man. If you gave me, let's say, $4,000 a month, I couldn't do $900 like some of these people do, right? But let's say you gave me $4,000 a month to sit at home and do nothing and claim disability, and I didn't have my family telling me that it's wrong to lie, you know, and it's wrong to milk the cow. I might end up being like somebody who would be like, hey, this is the easiest way to kind of do my thing. Let me get the $4,000 a month. Let me relax. Let me do, and then I might not love it at first, but after a year of that, do you remember what it was like when these people, you know how hard it was getting people back to work after they got them COVID handouts for so long? It's the same thing, dude. Handouts don't help people for long periods of time. It can only be a temporary solution to what has to be something that's self-reliant.
I certainly can't say I would do it again. I would probably keep my mouth shut this time.
Earlier
yeah,
this year,
I was
say they demonstrated
really excited to show you that. Just because I just thought it was such a strange thing to say. If you have the means, like, educate your children, uplift your family.
Did you see this?
What's up?
Oh, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. That's it.
There.
This is from the U.S. life insurance, like, whatever, excess mortality by detailed age band, Q3. That's this base, you know.
Oh my gosh.
Q3, right? 217% increase for 35. COVID? Yeah, this is just all death.
Oh,
yeah.
Look at the age range.
Yeah, all death, right? So we're having a 181, 217, 208%, and 170% increase right now. From and look, it tells you over here it's not just because of COVID.
Yeah, I see it now. No, I get it. I see it now.
It's just all death.
These people are so young.
Yeah. And then
why are they so young?
I don't even know. Remember how we were talking about back in the day that there was definitely crack pipes in the safer smoking kits or whatever the heck that they gave to everybody?
Yeah.
You know, like that was like normal. Then they try to act like it wasn't true.
Yeah, they donated.
The White House even said that they don't have crack pipes in them. So Free Beacon went out to see for themselves, and sure enough, Yes, safe smoking kits include free crack pipes. Duh, we knew this before. You know, and it's just like, what do you do when people are literally giving your population crack? You know, allowing them to like benefit. Here, use crack. This is a way to use it easier and better.
And not just that, the ability for them to say, like, this computer's sitting right in front of me, right? And I said, oh, this computer's sitting right in front of me. And you tell me, no, it's not. And I'm like, no, I see it. No, you don't. No, I'm touching it. I feel it.
Yeah, that's misinformation.
That's what the media, they're saying. They're
that's like,
You're
misinformation.
like, no,
and you're like,
I saw it with my own eyes. Like, even like how we were saying, it's difficult to convince people when there's nuances around. Like, come on, we're like, you can't see that. But when stuff is happening right in front of us and they still are going, no, you didn't see that. No, you didn't. Oh, he didn't say that. Where? And then like they'll work with YouTube and Google to wipe out a phrase or something like that, or pictures of like Joe Biden at the KKK funeral for the Grand Wizard or whatever his name is, Robert Byrd. Yes. So, but they are it's crazy.
Right, they don't know what to do with it. It's like, what do you do?
Say, no,
it's like such a large wrench to throw in the spokes and go, okay, if you think he's the solution to racism, everybody, why did he speak at the funeral of the, okay, you know what they did? They lied about it like this. So technically what he was a grand cyclops.
Yes, I saw that.
He was a grand cyclops.
I saw
that was the
say
technical name.
And
they fact checked because somebody said he was a grand wizard. They said no.
False.
False. This is false information. And then they just go, oh, I knew this wasn't true. And then down at the bottom it goes, he was actually a grand cyclops.
But it's in the
and then you're
print.
like, oh, so he wasn't a grand master or what, a grand wizard. He was the grand cyclops. Okay, that's way better.
You're right. It was
I prefer my KK.
It
it was totally false. You know, so I've made a ton of videos about this, but like the point of it is nobody reads past the headlines and they know it. That's what they mean by human beings are hackable. They're hackable. You can just clearly control them if you just basically decide if you just shoot a thing, they go, oh, and they keep doing about their day. Why? Because they're poor, they're busy, and they're depressed, and they don't have time to pay attention to super intensive shit when there's so much more better entertainment to look at in front of their eyes. So we're going to make your men weak. We're going to make your women attempt to think that they're strong to help further make the men weak, right? And then what do you have coming out in the entertainment world? Barbie partnered with Cardiff University to study how playing with dolls impacts kids. Results show that doll play activates the part of the brain related to empathy. Yeah, the pussy part of the brain. Look at this little kid. Look at this guy. If you saw this kid play with Barbies, you would not invite him to your party, dude. You would be like, bro, you're not coming. You're a loser. Have you guys even seen The Goonies? Have you guys ever seen Sandlot? You play ball like a girl. It was the biggest insult in the whole movie, right? Now, Tina, you could probably play some good ball, but what I'm saying is,
especially you come from like a man perspective too, and they push this. The female part of me, I say, oh, like I've seen little boys that are, grown up and become masculine men, but like that they played with dolls or Barbies with their sister or something like that. But we have to think like this now because they shove all that in front of their faces, but they don't put the normal stuff
right
too.
The men deciding to become calloused and hard and go, I guess I'm not allowed to play right now because Bill's got to get paid and there's a war afoot, and so I need to prepare for that. What's
the toy that the strong one? Barbarian? No.
Hulk?
No.
He-Man.
Yes, remember He-Man was the boys had the He-Man and a G.I. Joe and stuff like that. But then they would also grab his sister's dolls and play with them too. That was, you know what I mean? But they still had those manly man toys. Now they're feminizing so many of the toys or pushing that sort of thing. Like, no, just like go ahead and, play with what would be typically, girls' toys. And that's all they push. They don't push the other.
Right, because and they want people to do that. And then they give you all the stuff that's in your water, all the stuff that's in your food. All of it is to make you more feminine. And but notice, none of that shit is like, you're not even allowed to have an effeminate voice on the airwaves in China or Russia. They've banned both of those things. Yeah, you can't. If you're a man and you have an effeminate voice, hi guys, I just want to make sure that they will ban that radio station is not allowed on the airwaves in China or Russia. That's the degree that they're not allowing men to become feminized. Why? Because it's literally the ideological subversion tool that they're watching take down the West. It's their enemy, and they're watching it happen, and they're going, oh, okay, you're not allowed to protest LGBTQ shit here, and you're not allowed to do any kind of BLM shit here. Why? Because they're watching it be used as a weapon to take down the West. And they're taking us over next, probably. But check this out.
What is it?
ABC News. Breakthrough death comprise increasing proportion of those who died from COVID, meaning breakthrough cases of people that were vaccinated. But they want to clarify underneath of that. They really want to clarify, well, this data should not be interpreted as vaccines not working. Oh, so people who were vaccinated and died from it still doesn't mean the vaccine didn't work.
Look how they try to word it too, because that really kind of threw me for a little loop there. Yeah. Breakthrough deaths, compromise, like that kind of confuses
It should say people who are vaccinated who still got COVID and died from COVID are increasing in the amounts of the proportion who are dying from COVID. But you shouldn't think that this means that the vaccines aren't working.
Right.
Okay, what should I think it means? That it worked?
Wow. And then they have like all these vaccine injuries coming out. Marjorie Taylor Greene is pushing through the she started a bill. It was for vaccine injuries to hold companies liable.
Did it? Where's that at?
It's still in the infancy stages of like a bill.
Biden administration cancels oil and gas lease sales in Alaska and the Gulf of Mexico.
Yep, there it is. You told me about this earlier.
Yeah, that's exactly what you do. When your formula's running out, you go, what other sources that we desperately need and have needed? Yeah.
Truckers. Oh, did you see also they want to decrease the federally the speed limit to which truckers can drive from like 65 miles an hour to from 68 miles an hour to 65 miles an hour or something like that, or down to 60, because it's going to help with emissions. So now we already have supply chain problems. That time is going to add up. And the more time on the road, too, I would imagine.
Well, just the more control. Look, the government is not supposed to control everything. The purpose of the government is to facilitate the views of the people inside of our country and what we want to do. And what they've done is they've found out that human beings are hackable. So now they're controlling the views of the people in our country. And then if it's not the majority yet, they don't care. They're forcing it through anyway, knowing that we are too peaceful to do anything about it, basically. And so that's just what's happening. We're just blazing through everything that's in there. Now, I want to show you one other thing. Before we're done here. This is a funny thing. Look.
What's that?
This is Zelensky and Trudeau and all the other people. Thank you. This is one of the most enjoyable wars we've ever attended, because they're all in Ukraine just hanging out.
That is clever.
Such losers.
I mean, it's sad, but it's a very clever
and here's the court packing thing that they're trying to do.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Of course they are.
Game some momentum. But of course, so basically what court packing means, everybody, is that they want to take control, and they basically want to create, instead of it being, because right now it's a 5-4 split, meaning that there's 5-4, 4 against something, right? So what they want to do is they want to pack it with like 4 more, and then it would be like 8-5, yeah. So we would definitely lose, or whatever it is. And so, which, I mean, because since Biden would be able to basically pick all of the people that he wants to be the new judges, you basically change everything. They got 3 years left, basically 2.5 years left to destroy this country as best they can. And as soon as we get it back in our hands, if we get it back in our hands, it is going to be the largest pendulum swing in human history as far as back to justice, because everything that's shown itself to be a communist, they're going to go after its throat. As soon as this part's over, they're going to go, because look, even all the people that were like, okay, you can be gay and do your thing, they don't think that way anymore. They go, nope, we tried to live and let live, and then you guys came for our kids. You told me I'm evil, and you tried to have the CPS take my kids for me if you told them they're gay, and then they start to believe it, and then I don't agree with them. You took my kids for me by telling them they're gay. We'll never do this again.
Right.
We will never do this again.
It's almost too far a little bit, and I feel bad for the people. There are so many LGBTQ people who are, like, I don't want to say on our side, because that's not what I mean. They're sensible. Like, you're right. I don't like that kids are getting. You're right. This gay people
This is
are
too
saying,
far.
Too far. We don't want to do your kids, but they're going to suffer now.
Yeah, you see that on Twitter. The girls will be like, I'm so sad that the people on the left actually took the words from the 1960s and 70s Republicans that it's a slippery slope, and they proved it to be true.
Right.
And these are trans people on Twitter saying that.
Yes.
Trans people are saying
Blair
that.
White. Blair White just did a interview with Buck Angel, the trans man. And she said that. She was like, this is going to set us back now. And we've worked so hard to kind of be accepted. And it's true. It's true. There are going to be people who that say exactly what you said, that you came from my kids. You crossed that line, line that I put back so far, and I become accepting. And people who said that they convinced their grandparents to become accepting, even at the age of like 80 something, they're all going to say this was for nothing.
Right. So anyway, God bless you guys. Stick around for more. Get ready to share more. We're going to be making TikToks and all kinds of stuff out of the fun content that we're making. So God bless you guys. Thanks for sticking around, and be ready for next week.